I'm Lindsay Dreyer, founder of Happy Agent Co., where we empower women in real estate to build financial independence, lead with authenticity, and create joyful lives and businesses. Each week, I'll bring you bold conversations, actionable strategies, and the inspiration you need to build a business that supports your life, not the other way around. This is the podcast for women like you who want more than success. They want freedom. They want to make an impact. And more importantly, they want to do it all without sacrificing their happiness. Welcome to Happy Agent Co., where success is unapologetically yours. Today on the podcast, I have Molly Branson with the District Residential Group at Arlaw Properties. She is a DC area realtor licensed since 2015. She is also an investor, homestager, and mom of one with another on the way. I am excited to bring you this conversation because I am so passionate about getting more women into investing in real estate, as it is one of the best ways to build long-term wealth. Let's dive into the conversation with Molly. So for everyone who is listening, can you give us your quick intro into how you got into real estate?
Sure. So I just graduated college. I was actually going to go into nursing, so I got my nursing prereqs out of the way. I was applying to accelerated programs, and I already had a boatload of student debt. And I was looking at the tuition for the accelerated programs, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Am I sure that this is the path I want to go? So I, hit the brakes and did a complete 180. I just decided to jump into save up, first of all. So I waitressed for just under a year at a Irish pub nearby and saved up and then got my real estate license. And I'm really happy I did save up because, man, those first couple of years are rough as a real estate agent. So
yeah. They are, for real. What year was it when you got into the business?
It was 2015.
Oh my gosh, you're coming up on your decade?
I know. That's crazy. Yeah,
June
2015.
Oh, congratulations, you made it.
Thanks, I know. So I love saying that. I was like, I've been doing this for a decade. We're like, what?
We have a similar trajectory. I started selling homes right out of college too. And It's fun when you start young because you rack up experience and you're still very young. And so it's cool because you're very experienced, but you're still in your prime.
I love dropping that on interviews because people usually do assume, not that I look like super young anymore, but
right?
I'm not in my 20s, but they're like, well, how long have you been doing this anyway? I'm like, 10 years now, sir. So,
sir, it's always a sir, by the way.
Yeah. 10 years.
10 years, okay. You are a mom to a little, and we have a second on the way. So How did momhood influence your real estate journey at all?
I think it really made me you gotta be on point with how you spend your time, because now I obviously, growing up and the previous 9 years in real estate, I had so much more flexibility and didn't even really realize it. And then once I have a kid, I also want to spend time with him. I don't want to be running all over the place, which I usually am. Weekends are incredibly busy. So I think I've just kind of realized that I need to be as productive as possible, as fast as possible. I need to hire the right people, and I need to trust others to do tasks on my behalf that I don't necessarily have to do. So I'm still learning that part. It's kind of hard to let go, but as long as you have good people in place, there shouldn't be any major issues. So yeah.
It's definitely a challenge. I remember when I had my first in 2015, and it was just rocked my world. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah, they don't warn you.
No, this little thing needs so much for me. I had no idea. And I have a really supportive partner. I'm sure you do too. But it was just it was just still, even with a very supportive partner, it was just complete chaos.
We
bananas.
both were slapped in the face. I'm hoping number 2, we're a little bit more prepared, but I have no idea.
Number 2 is a lot easier. Number 3, very hard, I will say. Number 3 is whew, ha, whew. I'm glad we did it, but also, whew, Want to do it. I really wanted to talk to you because not only are you juggling real estate and mom life, but you're also a real estate investor, which I am so passionate about because I am also one. And I think that it is a path that a lot of real estate agents who are women don't take that often. And so I'm curious to start at the beginning of your investor journey. Let's talk about how you got into being an investor. Like, what was that first property and kind of what was your mindset around that acquisition?
Yeah, definitely. Well, my eyes kind of opened to it because of a client I was working with, and he had done tons of flips on investment properties, owned a ton of rentals, and I was looking for him for a rental in Southeast DC. So I was exploring so many neighborhoods, running the numbers for him, and I just kind of from that experience, I was probably like year 4 in my career, and I was like, why am I not doing this?
Yeah.
I'm literally analyzing every deal for him. Like, why shouldn't I jump in too? So you know, I was really scared, freaking out because I didn't even own a house yet, you know? So my first purchase actually was that investment property, but I did it with my sister because I was way too scared to do it on my own. So I had to drag her into it, which
Oh.
worked out. And it worked out honestly really well. Like we learned a ton. The first tenants weren't great. We weren't cash flowing that well, but I mean, since we bought it, it's appreciated $100,000 at least.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's great. And then we also that house kind of taught us. We didn't go into this house with the intention of doing this method, but after listening to Bigger Pockets for years and years, there was an episode with Dr. Joe Samoa and how he adds bedrooms to houses for voucher tenants.
Oh.
So light bulb kind of went off, and we added 2 bedrooms in the basement because we had the ceiling height. We had a full bath down there. And that like gave us $1,000 more a month. And we've had that family in there for, I want to say like 5 years now.
Wow.
They've been fantastic tenants. Yeah, one of our best properties, honestly. So it wasn't really cash flowing in the beginning, but we were really excited. And now we are cash flowing pretty comfortably. So
That's awesome.
Yep.
So when you were evaluating that initial deal, like what were your priorities that like looking back and maybe let's start there. And then I'm wondering now, knowing what you know, like what mistakes do you feel like you made on that one?
Yeah, I feel like we wanted a house that needed minor touch-ups that we could handle. We didn't have the budget. It was like, tight cash up front. So we didn't want something that wasn't technically move-in ready. So that was number 1. And then number 2, obviously we were constrained due to purchase price. So that limited our areas that we could buy within DC. And we knew we wanted to be within DC. It's just a market that I know the best. So it was just like driving through neighborhoods, feeling which ones we were comfortable walking down the street. Met a few neighbors. They were like, don't buy here. This is not great, actually. And we're like, okay. But we did do a lot of research in that way, just like actually going there, driving the blocks, walking around. Are you comfortable? We're like, we actually feel kind of good. Then that's one that we wrote an offer on. And it's been a really great location. People on the block look out for each other. Yeah. And honestly, I think that experience made us a little bit too confident for a purchase in Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
Which we did a few years later, where I just stopped by. It was an auction. I stopped by one time and knocked on the door, and like a little kid answered it. I was like, hey, do you like living here? And he was like, love it. I was like, awesome. And that was enough for me. But the day that we closed, the tenant who actually lived there was like, hey, I'm moving out. Too many people have died on my doorstep. And we're like,
oh my gosh.
What now? Yeah. So we've sold that one since.
So advice is do not trust 6-year-olds.
And I gave him like a little like Ravens gift, and he was like, I love you. I love this place. Like,
he's like, I'm going to tell you anything right now because you brought me a present. Like, you're the best.
Exactly.
I can totally picture my 6-year-old son doing that, where like someone knocks on the door, he's like, do you like living here? Yeah, it's the best. Like, what?
I love it.
It's
I got
amazing.
Here.
Yeah, I don't know anything else. Like, this is great.
Why didn't I ask to speak to his mom or dad? Like, I just was like, oh, I trust you completely. Yeah.
So your main investment strategy is you buy and hold and rent?
Yes.
Okay.
Granted, I am dabbling now into flips and I'm doing my first condo conversion also. Because I also work with a ton of developers, not only investors. So, I've learned a lot from them. And I was like, similar mindset. If they're doing it, why can't I do it too? And that has been a learning experience. So,
Oh boy.
yep, yep.
So I think a lot of like something that it doesn't sound like it's holding you back, which I like. But I think one of the things is like women in particular, they don't like taking risk, and we almost like talk ourselves out of these type of investments or scenarios where we're like, here's all the things that could potentially go wrong. I'm just not even going to bother doing it. So tell me more about how you adopt a mindset of risk taking. And like, is that just naturally your personality, or do you have like a thought process you go through to kind of make yourself more apt to take on the risk?
I think what has been really beneficial for me is partnering up with people. So if it was just me trying to purchase that first investment property, I don't know if I would have done it. That's why I pulled in. And granted, like my sister's more cautious than I am, but I think because we both were able to talk through like worst case scenarios, it wasn't just like completely on your shoulders to be like, okay, if we can't rent it for what we think, like then we're gonna have to pay out of pocket $500 a month. Like,
Right.
that's probably worst case scenario with like the average rents nearby. It's easier to take that blow mentally if you have a partner. And I mean, granted, I lucked out because my sister is into this and I trust her, obviously. And also my husband, he trusts me. He loves investing in investments. So there's like the potential upside, yada, yada. So that's my other partner on a lot of deals. But I mean, you can, as long as you have like things written out, like an agreement, you can do it with friends. You can do it with someone you meet at a investor meetup. Like there are ways that you can meet people to do this with you. But I think partnership really has been a big thing because then I can, make decisions. And if it goes bad, I'm not the only one that's going to be,
Yeah, it's less lonely.
It's totally less lonely. Yeah, exactly. But like sometimes I do present our cash flow, like to my husband. We have like quarterly budget meetings or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, so this was a rough year. And I feel that burden so hard because I'm dragging him down into this. So like it can go either way, but I really think getting a partner, especially maybe for your first one, our first couple, is really important because it's easier to make decisions.
Yeah, my husband is also my investment partner. And so, yeah, we're like similar in that like he trusts me completely, almost too much. That like
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like, he's like, well, if you think it's a good idea, let's just do it. And I'm like, no, but like, can you look at the numbers? He's like, no, Lindsay, like I trust you. And I'm like, oh, can you not maybe a little bit?
Look at the numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you like actually just look at the spreadsheet I did? Because it would make me feel a lot better.
I also spent a lot of time in the spreadsheet. So
Right. I did. And I would like you to look at it because it's important for you to understand what's going on too.
Yes.
Another way that I've seen people enter investing is just buying a primary residence and then just renting that out. And then like that was actually how I got into investing, was just buying my first place and then renting it out and then buying another primary residence and renting it out and buying another one and renting it out, which is great. So I think it's interesting. Like you just went like full into it, Molly. I love it. You're like, no, I am an investor and I am getting my sister and we're doing this. I did it the chicken shit way, which was buy a house I'm going to live in and then rent it out, and then buy a house I'm going to live in and rent it out.
That is the best way to do it.
I feel like it was not as risky. So I like that you just went full risk. Like I'm obsessed with that. And I did not. I like that there's different entry points because you and I both want to see more women in real estate investing, like 100%. I think that building wealth for women, real estate, if you're in real estate, it's your wheelhouse, it's your area of expertise. Like, why are you not taking advantage of all the knowledge? Like you just said, you were doing all of these analyses for your investor clients. Like, why am I not doing this for myself?
I also like to spin it where like, if I do make mistakes, because I am like a real estate agent, this is only making me a better agent.
Totally.
because then I get to share my mistakes with my clients, and now I'm going to better perform than another agent who has no experience talking about this stuff and going through it. So
Yeah.
that's how I look at some of my failures. I'm like, oh, that was awful. And be like, okay, well, I've learned so much through this. So yeah.
So let's talk about failures, because I think that that can sometimes be a little bit helpful for people, is like imagining worst case scenario. So let's can you walk me through maybe one of your recent acquisitions or projects and you're like, all right, here's like the worst case scenario, and then being like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, for sure. Most recent one would probably be a flip that my sister and I did in DC.
Hmm.
And I'm new to doing flips by myself, like, or on, without not being the agent and like advising
Yes.
a developer. I'm new to doing it solo. And the margins were tight and they kept on getting tighter and tighter and tighter. But before we went into it, I had a good idea of how much things were going to cost. Got a couple of estimates. That's huge. You should always get at least two, I think. But, probably like our profit, we were looking at $30,000. And that can be eaten up pretty quickly
Oh,
in a
yeah.
house, you know? But thankfully, we did walk away with almost exactly that amount. But as backup, I always run rental comps and see if it would work well as a rental. The basement ceiling heights were there, so I know I could add another bedroom in the basement should I want to
Hmm.
not sell this and keep it as a rental. And we would have kept it as a rental, but it just wasn't as profitable. Like the cash on cash return wasn't too solid, so the flip made the most sense. But I knew that if like we spent too much money on it, a bigger thing came up, or people just didn't want to buy it, we could
Yep.
always rent it out. So that's why it's important to have that backup plan just in case. And with real estate, plan B automatically is almost like, what does it look like as a rental property? So
I think that that's good advice. I also like, it's not about just taking blind risk. And I think
yeah.
so often it seems like that's what people are doing. But there is this like, what's plan A? What's plan B? What's plan
Hmm.
C? And
Hmm.
making sure that you're not completely trapped in a situation that's going to bankrupt you or make it so you're
Totally.
foreclosing on a property or you can't pay a hard money lender or whatever, you know?
Yeah. In that scenario though, like, okay, they foreclose on you. Hopefully you bought it in an LLC so that LLC has that ding on it, and then move forward. Like, I think that yes, that would be worst case scenario, but you can still get through that, you
Hmm.
know? So,
Yeah. And like, again, their perfectionism is
yeah.
sometimes not the best. It can be great, but it's sometimes not the
Yeah.
best. I
Yep.
don't think for real estate investing it's the best, but
Yeah.
it is about like that long term goal or vision for yourself. So I'm curious, like obviously you're investing and having fun and probably having some not fun days too. But what's your long term real estate investing vision? Like, what's your big why? Why are you doing this?
I really enjoy it right
Okay.
now. In terms of, I'm focusing more so on like the flip side of things now.
Hmm.
Um, And don't get me wrong, I do like the rental side. I've just have been doing that for a little bit longer. So the development side is newer to me, which is why it's more exciting. Got the
Yeah.
design element and all that good stuff. But I think long term, I just see my family growing,
Hmm.
and I love being a real estate agent. I really do. But it truly is 7 days a week, even when you are on vacation, even when you just had a baby.
Right.
There's no maternity leave for real estate agents, really. Um, so I think I see that and see that I want to spend more time with my family. So I kind of view it as another income stream
Hmm.
where I still am going to be fully functioning real estate agent. Maybe I'll refer a few more clients that are at a certain price point or at a certain location that I would have driven
Right.
to years ago. And the development side of things will subsidize maybe that difference in income that I'd be making. And right now it's just more fun for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I think real estate is can be unpredictable, and also you're
Hmm.
right, you are on a lot. I mean, even if you have the best systems, the best support,
Hmm.
the best everything, you're still ultimately the one that's responsible. So
Yeah.
having the diversification of your income streams, I think is so crucial to having sanity as a real estate
Mm-hmm.
professional. Like you have to have different income streams. My reason for being for investing is I want to retire and basically have my passive income just support my retirement. So in the meantime,
Yeah.
my tenants are paying my mortgages down and completely
Mm-hmm.
off. And that's going to be my retirement, which so it's like you do have to have a reason why. And for you, it's like fun right now, but you're also building that long-term wealth. You've created a real estate playground
Yep.
and you're able to use all your expertise and your knowledge
Yep.
and build some wealth with that, which is really powerful.
For sure. And to your point, I mean, sometimes I see, because I own a few properties with my husband, I own a few properties with my sister, and, I see those as, my kid's college education fund,
Right.
Yeah. Because,
Yeah.
yeah. And my retirement, you're right, my retirement plan, that's like going into it, I was like, I need to have that because some people have 401ks that are funded by their jobs, and my job doesn't really do that. So I'm like, this is my 401k. Don't ask me
Exactly.
specifics on tax stuff for that, but I'm just like, this is my 401k.
That's my 401k. Right. No, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's go a little bit higher level. What do you feel like you wish more women knew about real estate investing?
That it's doable. I think that a lot of people just get so freaked out about starting, and they're like, oh, well, I'm in a really expensive market. And I'm like, well, yes, you're absolutely right. We are in a very expensive market, but there are opportunities. Granted, there are certain properties I wouldn't necessarily buy as like a long-term investment property, like
Mm-hmm.
a one-bedroom condo with a high condo fee, for example. Maybe not the best move.
Right.
But I just feel like there's so many excuses you can make about like how you're limited that you just never take action. So I just think that it's important for women to make the right contacts, see that it's like possible, and just act. There's just such a limited, not a lot of action. Like I have a not to pull on any friends or anything, but I have a couple of friends who've always expressed interest in investing or flipping and yada yada. And I'm like, we've been talking about this for 3 years now, So here are all the tools, fall forward. It's okay to fail. I think also being scared to fail is a big one. And granted, like it is a lot of money that's on the line, but there are smart ways to protect yourself against that. And if you make mistakes along the way, you are 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have a lot more knowledge than you did 2 months ago. So I think just you really got to take action.
Let's end on a crazy positive note. Tell me what you feel like your biggest win has been in your investing journey.
I think it has just opened up the door to so many different clients. It has really supported my career as a real estate agent, which I wasn't really expecting going into it, but of course it adds up and makes sense. But now I have so much more experience on the development side, on the investing side, on the property management side, that I can talk to so many different things where I couldn't from the very beginning. What some other agents who've been in this industry for 2, 3 decades, maybe they don't have the same experience in that realm. It's just, I can see that people trust me more because I
Mm-hmm.
have this experience. And that has been very beneficial for growing my career, honestly.
Yeah, you are a full real estate authority. Your authority in real estate is like you've got the master's degree now. Like you've got the
Yeah, my dad
investor
always says
master's
that.
degree.
He's like, you're going to, for this condo conversion I'm doing, he's like, you're just getting your master's degree. Like, this is kind of what it is. I was like, cost is
Feels like,
consequence.
yeah. You're like, it feels like a PhD, but
True.
well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom. If people want to connect with you, where's the best place for them to find you?
Probably Instagram, Molly Branson Realtor.
Okay, awesome.
And I do have a district residential website, but Molly Branson Realtor is the best.
All right. Well, I hope they find you on Instagram. This is so great. And I just love that you weren't scared and you just like got in there with your sister on that first property, because I really think it is all about just pulling off that Band-Aid, and you did it. And now look at you. You're doing condo conversions, girl. It's amazing.
Thank you. I'm trying. We'll see how the off-sale is.
All right. I think we have like another episode. It'll be part 2 post-condo conversion and with baby number 2 arrival.
So true. August. So.
All right. Future episode coming soon. Thanks again, Molly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Happy Agent Co. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to take action to build a business and a life you absolutely love. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean the world to me if you could share it with a fellow agent who might need to hear it. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you are feeling generous, leave a review. Until next time, stay happy.